last time in our Bible reading. Last time we finished in chapter 3 of Ecclesiastes. And again, this is not the lightest read that there is. To provide some context before we dive back in, this book is written by King Solomon after he's experienced all of the pleasures and riches of life and found them to be unfulfilling, and is providing commentary basically on the idea that living for pleasures alone is a miserable experience. And I'll let the text speak for itself as far as unpacking that, but yeah, that's kind of what's happening. So if this is the first video of mine that you're seeing, or the first of the Bible that you've ever heard, and you're like, what is this? That's a little bit of context there, and obviously I encourage anybody who's interested, and based on this, don't just take my word for it. Dig into it for yourself. I would encourage anyone who's interested to check it out for themselves. Now, this is an archaeology Bible, so it's got little pieces of commentary like this over here that talks about other findings of writings during that same time period, and so I'll try and highlight those also as we go through these chapters. So I'll go ahead and read this because I don't think we read it last time. It's talking about wisdom literature in Egypt, and then we'll get started over here in chapter 4. One last thing before we get started here. As always, if you like this video, please leave a like. If you haven't subscribed and you've watched some of these videos and you like what I'm making, please do subscribe. It allows me to continue to making these videos. And if you know anybody else who enjoys ASMR and might enjoy these videos or the topics being talked about in them, please, if you share them, that helps me too. So, alright, without further ado, that was the last thing. Let's get started. Wisdom literature in Egypt. Surviving examples of wisdom literature from Egypt consist primarily of a number of collections of instructions, sometimes referred to as sebayit. These extend from the Old Kingdom period, or like the fragmentary instruction of Harjadef from the 3rd millennium BC, to the Ptolemaic period, which had the papyrus Insinger dated to the 1st century AD, but preserving an older text. These texts generally take the form of aphorisms handed down from a literal or figurative father to his son, providing insight into the operation of the world and instruction for proper conduct. They draw upon the Egyptian concept of the proper order of the cosmos. Such collections of instruction are often presented as guidance for the king in the conduct of his affairs. Among those famous are the instruction of Ptahhotep, the instruction of Turmerikari, the instruction of Amenemhet for his son, and the instruction of Amenemop. The latter is especially noteworthy due to the close connection between it and Proverbs 22:17 through 24:22. While less common, reflective, speculative wisdom is not entirely missing from the surviving materials from Egypt. Among these, the eloquent peasant both condemns injustice and provides a lesson in the value of speaking well. More directly related to the Bible, the dispute of a man with his soul is sometimes thought to have influenced the biblical book of Ecclesiastes. However, closer examination suggests that while this work reflects themes similar to those of Ecclesiastes, there is no direct connection between the two. And there's an additional citation of wisdom literature that we read in a previous video. Alright, Ecclesiastes chapter 4. Evil under the sun. Again, I saw all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold the tears of the oppressed, and they had no one to comfort them. On the side of their oppressors there was power, and there was no one to comfort them. And I thought the dead, who were already dead, more fortunate than the living who are still alive. But better than both is he who has not yet been, and has not seen the evil deeds, and that are not under the sun. Then I saw that all toil and all skill and work came from a man's envy of his neighbor. This also is vanity and a striving after wind. The fool folds his hands and eats his own flesh. Better is a handful of quietness than 2 hands full of toil and striving after wind. Again, I saw vanity under the sun. One person who has no other, either son or brother, yet there there is no end to his toil, and his eyes are never satisfied with riches, so that he never asks, for whom am I toiling and depriving myself of pleasure? This is also vanity and unhappy business. This is a famous verse here. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls and has no one to lift him up. Again, if two lie together, they keep warm. But how can they keep warm alone? And though a man may prevail against one who is alone, two will withstand him. A threefold cord is not easily broken. So let's get there. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up. Again, if two lie together, they keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And though a man might prevail against one who is alone, two will withstand him. A threefold cord is not easily broken. Better was a poor and wise youth than an old and foolish king who no longer knew how to take advice. For he went from prison to the throne, though in his wisdom he had been born poor. I saw all the living who move about under the sun, along with that youth who was to stand in the king's place. There was no end of all the people, all of whom he led, yet those who come later will not rejoice in him. Surely this was also vanity and striving after wind. And then here's another wisdom literature commentary down here. Among the surviving examples of wisdom literature from Mesopotamia, reflective wisdom writings predominate. Nevertheless, some collection of instructions have survived. The best known among these include the Sumerian instructions of Shurappak, which present the king's instruction to his son Ziasirta. From a later time, we have the Akkadian councils of wisdom, which provide guidance for upright behavior, as well as the advice to a prince and a number of smaller collections of aphorisms and wisdom sayings. The popular words of Ahikar contains a collection of proverbs presented in the framework of a story about the betrayal and eventual restoration of an Assyrian court official. The most significant examples of wisdom literature from Mesopotamia fall into the category of reflective or speculative wisdom. Among the numerous examples that have survived, several exhibit similarities with the Book of Job. The Sumerian poem Man and his God and the Akkadian works, I will praise the Lord of a wisdom and dialogue about human misery, also known as the Babylonian Theodicy. All present various accounts of a pious man seeking an explanation for his suffering. However, the variety of works of this type suggests this was an issue frequently troubling people in the ancient world, as it often does today, and similarities to Job reflect the fact that they are dealing with the same general topic, rather than suggesting any direct influence. Another work, The Dialogue of Pessimism, contains a conversation between a master and a servant, whose general tone reminds many of Ecclesiastes. Again, this is probably a case of general similarities arising from a shared topic, not a direct influence. Okay. Chapter 5. Fear God. Guard your steps when you go to the house of God. To draw near to listen is better than to offer sacrifice of fools, for they do not know that they are doing evil. Be not rash with your mouth, nor let your heart be hasty to utter word before God, for God is in heaven and you are on earth. Therefore let your words be few, for a dream comes with much business, and a fool's voice with many words. When you make a vow to God, do not delay paying it, for he has no pleasure in fools. Pay what you vow. It is better that you should not vow than you should vow and not pay. Let your mouth not lead you into sin, and do not say before the messenger that it was a mistake. Why should God be angry at your voice and destroy the work of your hands? For when dreams increase and words grow many, there is vanity, but God is the one you must fear. If you see in a province the oppression of the poor and violation of justice and righteousness, do not be amazed at the matter, for the high official is watched over by a higher, and there are yet higher ones over them. But this is gain for a land in every way, a king committed to cultivated fields. He who loves money will not be satisfied with money, loves wealth with his income. This is also vanity. He who loves money will not be satisfied with money, nor he who loves wealth with his income. This is also vanity. When goods increase, they increase to eat who eat them. And what advantage has their owner but to see them with his eyes? Sweet is the sleep of a laborer, whether he eats little or much, but the full stomach of the rich will not let them sleep. There is a grievous evil that I have seen under the sun. Riches were kept by their owner to his hurt, and those riches were lost in a bad venture. And he is a father of a son, but there he has nothing in his hand. As he came from his father's womb, he shall go again. Naked as he came, and he shall take nothing for his toil, that he may carry away in his hand. This is also a grievous evil. Just as he came, so shall he go. And what gain is there to him who toils for the wind? Moreover, all his days he eats in darkness and in much vexation and sickness and anger. Behold, what I have seen to be good and fitting is to eat and drink and find enjoyment in all the toil with which one toils under the sun, the few days of his life that God has given him for his lot. Everyone also to whom God has given wealth and possessions and power to enjoy them, and to accept his lot and rejoice in his toil. This is the gift from God, for he will not remember the days of his life, because God keeps him occupied with the joy in his heart. Chapter 6. There is an evil that I have seen under the sun, and it lies heavy on mankind. A man to whom God gives wealth, possessions, and honor, so that he lacks nothing of all he desires. Yet God does not give him power to enjoy them, but a stranger enjoys them. This is vanity. It is a grievous evil. If a man fathers 100 children and lives many years, so that the days of his years are many, but his soul is not satisfied with his life's good things, and he has no burial, I say that a stillborn child is better off than he. For it comes in vanity and goes in darkness, and in darkness its name is covered. Moreover, it has not seen the sun or known anything, yet it finds rest rather than he. Even though he should live 1,000 years twice over, yet enjoy no good, do not all go to the same one place? All the toil of man is for his youth, yet his appetite is not satisfied. For what advantage has the wise man over the fool? And what does the poor man have who knows how to conduct himself before the living? Better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of the appetite. This also is vanity and striving after the wind. Whatever has come to be has already been named and also known, and it is known what man is, and that he is not able to dispute with one stronger than he. The more words, the more vanity, and what is the advantage to man? For who knows what is good for a man while he lives the few days of his vain life, which he passes like a shadow? For who can tell man what will be after him under the sun? So, again, talking about the idea of the vanity of living for worldly pleasures and a life without understanding God and his higher power and order and purpose. Obviously, if you can wait until next time, we'll keep reading in the book of Ecclesiastes. But if you're curious about it, I encourage you to read for yourself. I thank you for watching this video, and for those of you who have subscribed, I can't express enough my gratitude for you. Next time we'll do I think we'll be in another Spanish basics video.